This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by...
So, obviously, people are saying, some people would say, particularly here, that you're not being sufficiently respected, your lack of, inclusion in the debate a couple weeks ago. What do you make of that?
Well, I think I got hosed. I really think I did. I never, ever expected in this process to be excluded from the debates. That wasn't even in the equation. It happened. I'm a believer in the system. I've always believed in the system. Right now, I question that because of my exclusion. I was a very successful two-term governor of New Mexico. A couple of days ago, they came out with a report that, all the governors that are running for president, who has the best record on jobs? Well, it was me. And I'll tell you what I had to say about jobs as governor and right now. I didn't create one single job as governor of New Mexico because government doesn't create jobs. The private sector does. What I can do and what I did do is I really created certainty. Regulations, laws weren't going to get worse. And because I got to run government, because I got to run all the agencies, actually things got a lot better. And by a lot better, it was this even-handed approach to everything that was going on. There wasn't what I would call corporatism, favoritism that I saw as governor. I saw legislation passed all the time that favored individuals, groups, corporations, as opposed to legislation that would have affected you and I to be able to compete equally in that environment.
You got a reputation as being pretty good with the veto pen, but do you have a sense of how many times you would use the pardon pen? Do you have a sense of whether you would make dozens or hundreds or thousands of pardons if you were president for 4 years?
Well, one thing that I said as governor, and I hope you guys appreciate this. When I came out on the drug war in '99, when I advocated legalizing marijuana in 1999, I'll tell you what, that was about as far out there as it got, and nobody since then nobody's gone further since then. So what I said in '99 was I'd pardon anybody in prison that was there on a victimless, nonviolent drug crime. And so
how many pardons total?
Well, there were only 2 that I let out. Well, first of all, hundreds of pardons for individuals that had carried out their sentences, and now I could expunge their record. I only 2 people were let out of jail because those are the only 2 I found that were actually victimless, nonviolent crime in state prison. That's when I came to find out that the profile of 73% of the people behind bars in federal prison are there because they've sold small amounts of drugs on numerous occasions and been caught. Another thing that, going back to '99, is I said I would not pardon anybody that sold drugs. Well, this is a process where, and if you use prohibition of alcohol as an example, when they repealed the prohibition of alcohol, there was a pardoning that went on. It was my understanding is it was kind of silent. It was kind of behind the scenes, but there was a pardoning that went on that really addressed the issue. That needs to take place here. Then to have talked about again, I didn't want the message to be lost in the fact that I wanted to let people out that had sold drugs. But going back to '99, I talked about how misunderstood the notion of pusher is. The pusher is simply a person who was a user that's now thrust into the selling role because the seller got arrested, and that's the reality.
Do you think you'd have a higher percentage, or you'd be more robust with the pardon pen as a president than you were as governor because of that fact? The 73%?
Well, now I was very robust with the pardon pen, even for people that sold drugs, anything nonviolent, pardoning-wise. I issued hundreds of pardons. Again, that was after they had served their sentences. So I was very robust.
We should probably let folks use the restroom.
Gary, do you always do press conferences by the bathroom?
No.
I'm going to get out of the way. Thanks, Governor.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Gary, Ian Shelby with LibertyReport, New York City. Good to see you. If anyone's contacting you about it, I'm trying to reach out. We're doing an event where we have leadership Tom Woods. We're working on Ralph Nader, just we're trying to get various speakers.
Driving in circles around Central Keene, I hurl both insults, angry and mean, against the activists from Free Keene, who wander around thinking as though they were free, and even though they aren't hurting me, I will hate them hatefully, urging their appearance in the penitentiary, although that expense would be charged to me. I'm starting to feel somewhat confusedly.